Captain, the Titanic has struck an iceberg and she is sinking.
It was 12:35 a.m. on April 15, 1912. Captain Arthur Rostron of the RMS Carpathia had been asleep for barely an hour when those words shattered the night. In the next 5 minutes, he would make decisions that would save 705 lives. While the Titanic's band played and passengers struggled to comprehend their fate, a 49-year-old ship captain stood on the bridge of a vessel 58 miles away, his mind racing through calculations and commands that would push his ship and crew to their limits. This is not a story about a ship that sank. It's about a ship that came to the rescue, and the captain whose extraordinary clarity of thought would be the difference between life and death for hundreds of people in the freezing North Atlantic. RMS Carpathia was a modest vessel compared to the majestic Titanic. Originally built to carry 1,700 passengers, she was half full that night, with 740 souls on board. Captain Arthur Rostron had spent 27 years at sea, a man whose quiet competence had earned him command, but never headlines, until tonight. Within minutes of receiving the distress call, Rostron had calculated Carpathia's position relative to the sinking Titanic. The math was brutal. 58 miles away, nearly 4 hours at top speed. The Titanic might not have 1 hour left. But Rostron didn't waste a heartbeat on doubt. He ordered his engines pushed beyond their safety limits, from 14 knots to nearly 18, a speed that would risk his own ship in the same ice field that doomed the Titanic.
She's never run this hot, Captain. The engines were not built for this.
Keep them running full ahead, whatever it takes.
As the Carpathia surged forward, Rostron assembled his officers. He didn't just issue orders. He orchestrated an entire rescue operation while his ship was still hours away. He assigned crew to each lifeboat station. He ordered all public rooms converted to emergency accommodations. The infirmary was expanded. Blankets, hot coffee, soup, and whiskey were prepared. Chairs and tables were cleared to make room for survivors. Slings and cargo nets were rigged to bring aboard the injured. Extra lookouts were stationed to watch for ice. Every detail was covered, every contingency planned for. Even the Carpathia's own lifeboats were readied, just in case they were needed to collect survivors from the water. What Rostron could not have known was that another ship was far closer to the Titanic that night. The SS Californian floated just 5 miles from the Titanic, close enough to see her distress rockets with the naked eye. But her wireless operator had gone off duty at midnight. Her captain, Stanley Lord, had retired for the night. When told about strange lights and rockets in the distance, he suggested they might be company signals.
Those look like distress rockets, sir.
Keep an eye on them. Let me know if you see anything else.
The Californian remained motionless throughout the night. Meanwhile, the Carpathia raced through the darkness, navigating between massive icebergs, its crew peering into the night for any sign of the stricken vessel. Every officer aboard the Carpathia knew the terrible truth. At this speed, hitting an iceberg would mean their own destruction. Yet not one questioned Rostron's orders. His certainty gave them courage. At 3:30 a.m., still 30 minutes from the Titanic's last reported position, the first distress rocket was fired from the Carpathia to signal survivors that help was on the way. At 4 a.m., they arrived at the coordinates.
Ice field dead ahead, Captain. No ship, sir. Just lifeboats scattered across the water.
The magnificent Titanic, proclaimed unsinkable, had vanished beneath the sea at 2:20 a.m. Now, all that remained were 20 lifeboats, adrift in freezing waters, some dangerously overcrowded, others half empty. Evidence of the chaos of the evacuation.
The Carpathia. Thank God.
For the next 4.5 hours, Rostron guided his ship from lifeboat to lifeboat. He positioned the Carpathia to shield the tiny boats from wind and waves. He supervised as survivors, many frostbitten, some barely conscious, were carefully brought aboard.
Easy now. Women and children first.
By 8:30 a.m., the last survivor was aboard. Captain Rostron ordered a final sweep of the area. Nothing remained but debris floating on the stark blue water. Captain Rostron now faced another crucial decision: return to their original course for Europe or turn back to New York. After consulting with Bruce Ismay, the highest-ranking White Star Line official to survive, Rostron chose New York, the closest port for the traumatized Titanic survivors. In the aftermath, Captain Rostron received accolades from around the world. The survivors presented him with a silver cup and a gold medal. The American government awarded him the Congressional Gold Medal, and eventually he would be knighted by King George V. Even when the Carpathia was racing through a deadly ice field, he remained focused on the rescue, not the risk. When the Californian finally arrived at dawn, her captain was stunned to find nothing but floating debris. The Titanic was gone. So too were hundreds of souls who might have been saved had he investigated the rockets his own crew had reported. The tragedy of the Titanic is remembered through Hollywood's lens: the grand staircase, the doomed lovers, the musicians playing to the end. But perhaps the most important legacy lies in understanding the profound difference between one man who acted decisively and another who waited until morning. In times of crisis, minutes matter. Decisive action matters. The willingness to risk oneself for others matters. In the cold waters of the North Atlantic, where Titanic's sinking claimed 1,500 lives, the Carpathia's legacy endures because of one man who understood that in the darkest hour, action makes the difference. Captain Rostron and his crew did what no one else would do that night. They came to the rescue. In doing so, they saved 705 souls and carved their names into maritime history.